Do you ever feel like sometimes ideas, insights come to you quick and easy, almost like your mind is in this super wave of just consciousness? Like you can just grab things and momentum so quickly that it's miraculous. What's taking place there is you're grabbing a taste of momentum. Now, momentum is one of those things you can't actually put your hand on, right? If you think about it in science, like where is momentum? Where does it exist? If you watch a sports game, you've seen or felt momentum. Just watch the tide change or the crowd kind of energy change, and all of a sudden the momentum of the game starts to change. And when that happens, a lot of times good things take place. Or for the reverse, for the other team, maybe good things aren't taking place. I believe this is happening in your life as well. You're either moving forward in momentum or upward momentum, or momentum is dragging you down. So I want to talk to you today about how to grab that upward momentum so you can have more of just that. Now, if you and I haven't met yet, my name is Troy. I want to help you in your life. I remember years ago, I was on this upward trajectory of momentum. So I was getting back into athletics. Athletics was like a big part of my life. And after high school, they were kind of like gone for a while. Now, one of the activities or sports I did was boxing. Boxing always kind of kept me centered, grounded. It was this activity that you really had to put a lot of effort and time into, right? To be very precise. I mean, you're risking a lot when you go out there in the ring. And so I'm post high school for a little while. I'm kind of floundering, and I decide to start boxing again. And so I start training. I start getting in good shape. My mind's getting strong. I'm reading books. I'm like dialing in, listening to good music. Everything's moving forward. I have this big match. I go in and I win the match, knock the guy out. It's a big event. So excited, and you feel like you're on the top. You're the king. And then a week later, I'm playing basketball with some friends. We're shooting hoops. I can't remember if I went up for a layup or a rebound or something like that. When I came down, my foot landed on someone else's foot and it snapped my ankle. So bad that like I had scar tissue and all over my ankle and bruises all the way up to my kneecap. And when that took place, I was out. It knocked me out. I lost my momentum. And so what happens when you lose your momentum? You go into a downward spiral if you're not aware of the concepts I'm going to share with you right now. And so when that took place, what did I do? Oh, woe is me. I'm the victim. This sucks. I started to party. I started to lose all that upward momentum that I was creating. So I want you to remember this phrase. It's not your ability to add intelligence to yourself. That means you're like pursuing knowledge. That's good. It's valuable. What's more important is your ability to get access to your own brain. So that means is when you are in this, it's actually called like a winner effect. We're in this upward momentum of perceiving that you are winning, you naturally get biological advantages. Like literally your biology goes, oh, we're winning. We're at the front of the pack. And you start to actually get increased in testosterone, serotonin, dopamine. So you actually get a biological response to you winning, your perception of winning. So the problem lies is because you've been trained to believe that wins come from large outcomes, kind of like I did, right? Like, oh, I won a boxing match. Now I get the advantage of having all this boost, and now I'm injured and I don't get the advantage of that. But the reality is when I was injured, there were still things I was doing well. Like I was eating well, I was showing up, I was hanging out, I was engaging in life. But if I would have looked at those things, I could have kept my winner effect. So that's what I want you to start to develop. It's really a concept of learning to fall in love with the process over being outcome focused. But you've been conditioned through your society, through your school systems, through your education system, religious systems, to focus on outcomes. What that means is like the big wins. And how often do those really take place? So you don't believe, or your biology doesn't believe, that you're actually winning unless you get that big win. You get the promotion, you make a certain amount of money, whatever it is, you get the degree, the success. Like just think about school. To have an A, you have to get 10 out of 10. That means you have to be perfect. Well, what are humans? We are far from perfect. And so allow yourself to be actually human and be imperfect and notice what actual wins actually are. And the actual wins are the process. And then what that allows you to do is to honor right action over outcome. That's a nuanced point, but it's very powerful. Honoring right action. So the way I'll communicate this sometimes maybe with kids or something like that, right? Or with younger generation. I'm like, did you go ask the girl out? Yeah, I went and talked to her. Epic. Let go of the outcome. That's not what matters because you can't necessarily control that. What does matter is you made that approach. You took action. That's the right action. Honor the right action. No one else is doing that. Everyone else just sat on the side or they had to use alcohol, some other substance to actually take action. So honor your action. And so then what you start to do is you're shifting literally the neural pathways in your brain from being outcome focused, because that's it'll screw you up, man. It'll make you stumble everywhere because you're getting this low dopamine response, this low serotonin response. And then you're going to actually look for those same type of hits synthetically, right? And so you can probably assume what those types of things are. They're fake ways to get dopamine and serotonin. And so it's not your fault or our society's fault. It's just over generation after generation, we get conditioned that way. And so if you do have kids, you want to change the reward system from outcomes to effort. Like I noticed the way you focused and you kind of locked in. That was beautiful. Let go of the outcome. Don't even talk to them about the outcome. It matters and it doesn't matter, right? But it's something you can't necessarily control. What you can control is the way you show up, the effort you put in. So you have to recondition your brain for that as well. And so you start to show yourself all the little things that you're doing that are right action. So maybe you do have this goal. It's okay to have goals and outcomes. You look up at the goal, but then you come right back to the process. That's what it actually means to fall in love with the process. Well, what is the process for you? If you're moving towards something, maybe you want to exercise a little bit more. Look at the right action. Did I make my shake this morning? Boom. And what I would like you to do is write down at least 3 wins a day, 3 wins that are directed towards that goal, and put all your focus and effort on those wins. So maybe you made your shake, right? Maybe you actually want to lose 20 pounds, but you made your shake this morning. Maybe at lunch you made a better decision. Instead of putting the ranch on my salad, I chose to get the olive oil and vinegar, whatever, right? And I chose to get the chicken instead of the bacon. I'm just making this stuff up, right? But you get the idea. You're finding these little nuanced points that you did that were better decisions, because what you're typically doing is you're focused at the outcome of the 20 pounds, and it's too far away. It's too heavy. And maybe even that day you wanted to work out, but you didn't work out. But you can still honor the other things that you did that were right. And that's going to keep in that upward momentum. A lot of your success in life and your ability to achieve certain things is not your ability to stay like locked in on that outcome. It's going to be your ability to grab upward or downward momentum. And I want you to obviously grab the upward momentum. And so what that means is if you have a loose mind that's not looking at rights and wrongs and it's very self-critical, you're going to be able to grab the upward momentum much quicker. And so a lot of the coaching that I'm doing with people is breaking these conditionings, like your rigid stance of looking at outcomes. And when you have that tight stance, like I can see it in someone when they're tight and they're rigid, you actually like think about yourself moving towards something and you're stiff, you're dense, you're tight. Like what's your progress actually going to look like? But if you're loose, you're relaxed, you can go with the flow, you can navigate the course, you're much more likely to get there. And so it's much like grabbing water, right? If you actually want to grab water, you want to achieve grabbing water with your hand, would you squeeze it tightly? How much water would be left? Or would you cup it loosely? So you're doing the same with your goal. You're cupping it loosely, allowing momentum, putting right action in and effort in. And then what you do, it's not a light switch. You think it's a light switch. You think losing 20 pounds is a light switch. I either do it or I don't do it. You think achieving this goal is a light switch. I either have it or I don't have it. But life ain't a light switch. Life is a volume meter. And so slowly what you're doing is you're tweaking the dial. Tweak it, tweak it, tweak it. You just tweaking the dial until you get exactly where you want it. And then what that means for you is adjusting your process. So you find out the things that do work, the things that don't work. Take the big goal away and break it down to a micro goal. Like people used to ask me when I do jujitsu, they'd say, when I was training jujitsu a lot, they'd say, how often are you training? And I would never answer them with the response that they wanted, because what they wanted to know was, am I training more than you or are you training more than me? Who's getting there faster? But I knew it was a marathon, not a sprint. And so my goal actually, they'd train 4 days a week. I didn't give a shit, right? My goal was to train 1 day a week, because I knew if I just trained 1 day a week for a decade, I'd be an expert. And so my reward system was sometimes I do 1 day a week, sometimes I do 4, sometimes I'll do 7, whatever it is. But that allowed me to stay in the process and just fall in love with that and get there when I get there. What you're looking for in all your growth is to be at the end of the hockey stick. Think about a hockey stick, right? It's flat, and at the end it curves up. That's compounding effort. In the beginning, it's very difficult. Anything that you do is going to be challenging. Like you're learning the way, you're learning the system. It's the white belt journey. 3 years down the road, you might think you should have it figured out, but you ain't going to have it figured out, because it takes expert status to get to the hockey stick. But you stay with it. You stay the course. You learn the nuanced points. You tweak the dial along the way. You learn about yourself. You go inward. You make the journey not about the outcome, but about the process, and the process of you evolving yourself. And before long, you start to reach the hockey stick. The cool thing about reaching the end of the hockey stick, the exponential pattern, is that there's very few people there, because most people quit along the way. And then you become an expert. And that's why you can make something look so easy when you've done it for so long. So make sure you stay consistent with the process. I love you so much. Let go of those outcomes. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so rigid. Allow yourself to be in flow. Surrender, let go. You'll get there. I love you so much. Until next time. Peace.